Welcome to the last coding challenge of this section. Now here, this coding challenge is a little bit different than the previous ones. In this challenge, I want to write a program that receives a list of variable names and also written in underscore case and converted them to camel case. Now, now the input will come from a text area inserted into the DOM. See the code below, that is this code. See here, we have the text area and the button, and we have created create element function. So that is where the variable list comes from, and then the conversion will happen when the button is pressed. That means that when we click on this button. So here we have the test data and we have pasted this text data to this text area. And now when we click on this button, we should produce the output list. So that we have here 5 separate console.log outputs. Now here we have the hints also, 4 hints. The first one is remember which character defines a new line in the text area. And the second one is the solution only needs to work for a variable made out of 2 words like a underscore b. That's what we have all these like that only. And the third one is start without worrying about this mark. Tackle that only after you have the variable name conversion working. And the fourth one is this challenge is difficult on purpose, so start watching the solution in case you are stuck, then pass and continue. Now let's pause the video and then continue doing challenge on your own. Once completed, back to the video. Okay, now let's start by attaching an event handler to the button. Let's write here document dot query selector and then give the button. Now let's write add event listener. This is for click and then write function. Here the first thing we have to do is to get the value out of the text area. So for that we have here this snippet code. So let's copy this one and then paste here. Then let's log this into console. Text area. Now here let's make a practice. Copy and then paste here. Let's click on this button. We got error because here the text only, not text area. Now let's reload. And then paste again. Just click. See here, it is basically one big string containing all of this. Now basically how we separate this string into 5 different strings to start with. So for that here we remember that the hint one, which character defines a new line in the text area. So that will be the starting point to split 5 different strings. For that let's write here const. I'm giving here rows that is equal text dot split. And then for new line character write \n. Now let's change this to rows. Now let's reload. Now let's see the result. Let's paste there again. And then see, now we have an array of these. Here you see that we have all these. Now just simply loop over this array. And in each iteration, we will log this variable name converted into a camel case. Now let's write the for loop for const row in rows. Now here what we have means, here we have these underscore cases. So what we have means like this. underscore case underscore case. We need like this. The result should be like this. So for that, we need to split the variable name into two parts, that is which is separated by this underscore. So let's do that. Here each word is now called as row. So for that, write row dot, we split that by this underscore, this underscore. And also here we have this camel case, this camel case. That means that all should be in lowercase except this second word's starting letter. So here in this data, we have here the underscores and here the space, and here we have two spaces, and this is some of them are capitals and then some of them are lower. First of all, we have to do is to convert them into lowercase to lowercase, and then we also trim here, trim, and then we can even chain a third method, which is the result of splitting into two words. Now here we end up with an array with the two words, and so let's destructure that into two variables. That is, let's write const giving the first and then second. Now let's write third const output. I'm storing all this in output address, and then here giving first value and then second. Now here for this second, I want to replace that second value, second of 0th element with second of 0th element dot to uppercase. We need that uppercase. Now let's log this into console. Console.log output. Now let's see the result. Copy, paste here. Play. We have an error. That let's place this in comments, and then here off, replacing off, and everything looks good. Let's click again, place the data again, paste, and click on button. Now let's see that all of these variables are converted to the camel case. Now let's do the tackle part, that is this emojis part. Here in this, we need to notice that two things. The first one has one check mark, and the second row has two check marks, and then 3, 4, and then 5. That's the first thing. And the second thing is that all start at the same position. This means that all of these strings here basically should have the same length. Now, all of these strings basically have the same length. So for that, we can use padding and set them all to a fixed length. So let's write that here in this output dot, I'm giving here pad n to give the same length for all of those. For suppose I'm giving 20 and then simply giving the empty spaces. Then now let's click. Now we see that all of these have same length. Here without the empty space also it will work, or simply giving 20 it will work. Here now we need to give a check mark or to lock a template string which will contain all of that. So let's write here literals. Now here we need to place the check mark. Further click on OK. Now we should almost now get the color correct solution. Now let's see the result. See here we have all these check marks in the same line. Now what we have to do is here we have 2 and then here 3, we have here 4 and then here 5. And further we are going to use the current index in each iteration. So remember that how we can get access to the current index in the for of loop. Looping over an array here so to get the current index. Here we actually need the entries of the array. For that write here rows dot entries. Now the row is actually an array with first the index and the second one will be the actual element. Here in this case I'm giving here I is the index and row is the actual element. So here that index is basically to repeat this string. Now for repeating itself, write and then give here dot repeat I plus 1. Basically here we have the string. So for that string we have added the repeat. So here the I value is 0, 0 plus 1, that means that we get 1 emoji. And then if the value is 1, 1 plus 1, that means we get 2. And so on. And now let's take a look here the solution. We are done with the code. Then it's here we are done with this. We get the line 1 that is a 1 emoji and then here the second line that is 2 emojis and then what we have here as like we have this. So with this we are done with the challenge. We will continue in the next lecture. Thank you.